Evidently, positive lyrics, ever ready. Spirit charged, never empty. Devil's charms can never tempt me. The level 8 on could never dent me. The Enterprise can never rent me. Keep the drive without the Bentley. INNOCENT. Truth is hard, but I speak it gently. Squeeze my shit to
Yes, thank you all for tuning in with me. Yes, guys, I appreciate you all. Yes, another episode. Yes, on the Creative Lips Podcast, guys. Yes, I appreciate whatever time of the day you are listening to, whether it be the nighttime, the daytime. I appreciate your time. Yes, I do. Yes. I appreciate your time. You know, we had to do that bomb again. It was a little low. You know what I'm saying? But however, I appreciate you all, guys. Yes. You know, as this year winds down, you know, we are getting into going in to 2021, guys. Yes, we're getting ready to go into 2021, guys, and leave behind 2020. Yes, this year has been like a roller coaster of a year for us, you know, and you know, we're embarking onto a new year, just to do it all over again, to start all over again, or to continue whatever we have started in 2021, guys. Yes, guys. All right, now, so let's definitely get into it now. Let's get into it. Yes, I appreciate you all once again. This is the Creative Lips Podcast. Yes, guys, and I am your host, Regina. This is episode number 68, guys. Yes, episode number 68, guys. Yes, I appreciate all of the new listeners and all of the active listeners. Yes, I appreciate you all, and also all of the new followers on my Instagram. Yes, I appreciate you all joining me on this journey. You know, this last episode of the year for my Are We Here For Mondays. Yes, and my Monday sound off randomness, guys. Yes, and that's going to be later on in this episode, guys. Yes, I appreciate you all for tuning in with me today. You know, just like I said, you know, 2020 has left us. You know, it's beginning to leave us. You know, we have one more week. We have one more week left of 2020. You know, or a couple of days, actually, for 2020. You know what I'm saying? But however, you know, we are going to make it through this week, no matter what it is, no matter what we see, you know, before us, ahead of us, or whatever it may be, guys. Yes, whatever it may be. You know, I like to start off my episodes by, you know, just giving words of encouragement, just self-affirmations, just words to help you all, you know, help you all through your day, your week, or whatever. You know, that whoever that's listening to this episode, whatever situation you are faced, whatever you are going through, whatever trying times, whatever it is, only you know what it is, guys. Only you know what it is that is faced before you. I hope and pray that you will make it through. You will make light out of that situation, and it will work out in your favor the way that you want it to be made out in your favor in the end, guys. Yes, in the end. In the end, guys. Yes, in the end. All right, now, so let's get into it, guys. Yes, let's get into it. All right, so Now, this episode it's more so a mixture of, a lot of things that I am going to be talking about. I'm not going to keep you guys here long. But however, I just want to, do like a year in rewind of my episodes. And, just talk briefly about, some episodes that, I did that were my favorite. And also, I want to talk about my gratitude for having this platform that I am so accustomed and so comfortable to, talk about, and, and also my thoughts on podcasting. Now that it is taken by storm, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are doing it now. Yes, everybody and their mama is doing it right now as we speak. Yes, everybody wants to have a podcast now, which is nothing wrong with that. But, we had a feeling, I had a feeling that was going to happen, because with this pandemic and, with everything that is going on, a lot of people have a lot of shit to say. You know what I'm saying? Me included. I have a lot of stuff to say. A sister like to talk, as you can see. So, this 2020 year, for me, I can honestly say, I could start off by saying that this year has really taught me, to be the best version of myself, guys. Yes. And I can also add to it and say that this year has been so much of the eye-opening things, about myself, that I've grown and learned about myself to make me be a stronger and better person, for me. This year, from the beginning of this year, I was really trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what is it that I want to do to make it a more meaningful, something more aggressive. Now, before I was doing this podcasting, I was heavily on YouTube, doing, back to back. Well, not back to back, but every week, I would drop a video on my YouTube channel. For those who don't know, I have a YouTube channel, my personal YouTube channel. It's just basically going on a journey in the life of my music career. And, also talking about, DIY stuff and, vlogging about my vintage travels, because I'm like infatuated with New York. I love New York. But however, so yes, I have been YouTubing. I am a YouTuber, and I am on YouTube, and the YouTube account name is under Gina Locke Soul. And that account, you can just Google it, or you can just go on YouTube and search for Gina Locke's Soul, all one word, and you can see my YouTube channel. And if you do, please feel free to subscribe to that channel, guys, and help that channel grow. Because I am, looking forward to, dropping some more videos on YouTube, on my personal YouTube channel, coming 2021, guys. Yes, so be on the lookout for that. You will see more of me on there, coming 2021. But however, just like I said before that, before my podcast, I was doing YouTube heavily, and, just still dabbling into my creative nature, because that's who I am. I love creative stuff. I love arts, I love fashion, I love music, and that's just me. And I'm a little bit of an introvert as well. But however, I was really thinking about, what is it that I can do that's even more creative? Something that I love to do, which is talk. I love to talk. A sister can talk. Even though, just like I said, I am a little bit of an introvert. I am shy at times. Yes, I am. I can be. But however, if I feel comfortable with you, you know what I'm saying, and you don't got none of that negative energy, then, and I feel your vibe, because I do protect my energy. I tend to open up to you, and I can just talk and talk and talk for days. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I can. And it's fun. And that's something that I love to do. So I just thought about it. I was just laying, and brainstorming and writing, and when I was laying in the bed one day, and I just thought a light bulb went off in my head. Podcasting. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm very technically savvy, what I'm saying, and I'll figure it out. Now, this year has been a lot with, added with, learning how to do podcasting. And I'm just going to get into that in just a few. But however, I want to start off by talking about my personal life for 2020. 2020, right along with, doing podcasting, 2020 added with that has been very interesting because, going through all of the things that I have been through in my life, in this year rather, has been very therapeutic for me to talk on different platforms that allow me to talk about my personal life on, and for you all to hear me and to hear me freely and to hear my truth and to hear how I feel about different topics and, and also into the entertainment side too. I can, talk about a little bit of tea, you know what I'm saying? But however, getting back to the therapeutic side, because, my year has been a roller coaster. It has been, a lot of ups and downs, with me getting let go from my job due to the pandemic or whatever the case. And, trying to bounce back from that. And then also, me bouncing back from that and then to have another sad story to happen for, a personal situation with my family, with my daughter, becoming missing. But however, of course, and for those who follow me, who know me, she was found and she's fine and she's safe and she's good right now, guys. You know what I'm saying? I thank you all, once again, during that trying time, of my daughter, having her, terrible situation that had happened to her. And, just like I said, that is very personal, that happened to her between me and my family. But however, I just wanted to once again thank you all, for those who've known me and even for the strangers who didn't know, my family. I appreciate all of your support in helping finding the whereabouts of my daughter, and also the encouragement that you all have given my family in regards to that, that very, sad time, during this year. And, added with all of that, all of the stuff just mentioned, whether it be with setback of jobless, and then with personal family issues and, not issues, but, situations that has happened in, my family. Podcasting has been very helpful for me, to talk about it and to talk about it to you guys, to you all. And I appreciate you being interested in what I have to say. And also through, my self-help, self-care Wednesdays, those every Wednesday, just about every Wednesday, I try my best to get these episodes out there to you all. Sometimes, I might have had a little bit of hiccups, with technology, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time, it's not even a sister's fault. So I just want to say that, you know what I'm saying? But, those have been very helpful. Right along, with me doing all the research on mental health. Because mental health, just like I said, it runs very deep in my family, and it is really big to me. And going through all of those things, just overall going through all those things, it has helped me tremendously, doing this podcasting. Because I always say to myself, this is what I always say to myself: trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. And this year, I can honestly say that I have trusted myself more than ever, more than I could ever imagine. My confidence is like out the roof. And, because it was at a point in my time in my life that, it was hard for me to go through and to deal with, with myself and my anxiety and, the different things and thoughts and stuff that would just go through my mind and, and try to overcome, different situations. You know what I'm saying? So I tried my best to get through it. And by doing this podcasting, it has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I have manifested, right let alone this year, I have manifested so much stuff that I could not even imagine. Imagine, guys, honestly, because I'm like so grateful. I'm so grateful for, all of, the things that I have been through in this year. I am so grateful to experience those things because it brought out another side in me that I always wanted it to come out. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted this side, this creative side, this creative nature, this confidence, this, this, what you guys are hearing right now. I'm like so proud of myself, and you can sit back and say, what is it for this year that I am proud of? What did I overcome? What did I overcome this year? What did I finally let go of this year? What did I do to make myself be the person that I love to look at in the mirror each and every day? You know what I'm saying? What is it? Only you know what that is, like I always say. But, put that thought in your mind. What are some of the obstacles? And, what is your triumph? What is your light that you can hold up above you and above the world? And, and you don't even have to, make it known to everyone. You can just make it known to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yourself. And you can just say, damn, this year has taught me a lot about myself. And now I really know myself this year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what 2020 has taught me. It has taught me so much about myself, and I love it. I do. I love it. I'm not afraid to express who I am as a person. And as a creative human being. Damn it. Because I have a lot of shit to say. You know what I'm saying? And I am not afraid to express who I am and talk to you guys. You know what I'm saying? So now let's get into, and I want to talk a little bit about this podcasting and how I feel about podcasting. I want to talk more about, I was saying the hiccups and how, most of the time that shit was not a sister's fault,
It's all fucking.
No. It was not a sister fault. Most of the time when I uploaded my episodes, the uploading websites was down. You know what I'm saying? And there was nothing that I could do. But however, I tried my best to get as much content out there for you guys. Stuff that you all was asking me. Some people was asking me, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? You know what I'm saying? And, hey, and if I wanted to talk about it, if I felt as though there was a need to talk about it, I did. But majority of it, I would say out of 100%, all of you, have been asking me to talk about certain topics, situations that happened this year. I would say out of 100%, I talked about, I'd say roughly about 85% of it. You know what I'm saying? I did, because some things I didn't really want to. Now, doing this podcasting, just like I said, I learned a lot. I didn't listen, guys. You want to be a podcaster? I have an episode that's basically talking about that. Yes, you know what I'm saying? I talked a lot about, different stuff, different topics, on podcasting, how I got my foot in the door, or whatever you call it, you know what I'm saying? Or how I started, and it wasn't easy for me. It really wasn't. I'm not going to basically say that this is easy. Some people might have questions to say, Gina, how you do that? How you get everywhere? I'm not everywhere. It's still certain platforms that I'm just, certain platforms I want to be on, but certain platforms I really don't care to be on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't put forth the effort to be everywhere. I would like for my podcast to be everywhere where you get, your favorite streaming platforms. You know what I'm saying? That's where I would like to be, so that, because I don't know what your favorite platform is. Only you know that. So, I try to get my podcast out everywhere. But however, just like I was saying, this is not easy. Doing this podcasting. Anyone can do it. Yes, anyone can do it. You got a microphone. You don't even have to have a microphone. You can have your own phone. Because guys, let me tell you all. Okay, let me tell you something. It's not a secret, you know what I'm saying? But when I first started this podcast, guys, I didn't have equipment. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't. But however, I am, just like I said, I'm very technically savvy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a tech head. I'm a little bit of geek. You know what I'm saying? Know a little bit of coding and all that stuff like that. But however, I'm telling you, I started off with my phone. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I started off with my phone. Yes, I did. And then I would upload them in the softwares that I would use, and then I would edit it. And, do different things with it and, to try to make it sound good. You know what I'm saying? That's what I did, guys, when I first started off. And then I was just like, okay, I'm going to invest in equipment now. Now it's time. Now I'm ready. Because I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to put myself up to a challenge. And I challenged myself. And that's what I did. And, I also listened to other podcasters out there. Not try to listen to them to try to steal their ideas or mimic them. It's just that I just wanted to be my own person, and I also wanted to see how it's done. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how the real podcasters do it. And I want to see how it should be done. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to put my own twist and spin on it, and that's what I did with podcasting. And I also wanted to sit back and think of the things that I wanted to talk about, what my brand wanted to be about. And that's something that you have to do. You have to sit down and brainstorm what you want your brand to look like, sound like, be like, act like, and you know what I'm saying? What you wanted to serve, what you wanted to give, honey. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I am being my true self. When I talk to you guys, this is me. If you was to meet me in person, this is me. This is how I talk. and it's no anything like, putting on a show or acting or whatever. I mean, but it does help to have some type of, what's the word I'm trying to say? Some type of, creativeness, I guess, some type of personality. There you go. Yes, some type of personality. You need that. That's why they call personality host. Somebody that has, that flavor, Yeah, that's why you listen to the radio. Well, some people used to listen. I don't listen to the radio no more, but that's how, we used to listen to the radio back in the day. Remember those times, if you did listen to the radio, you would call up, you would be the number one caller so you can win those tickets or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to do this. This is something that I always wanted to do. It was like a dream of mine to do it. And I said, what would be the good time then right now? You know what I'm saying? The best time. This is the best time to start it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that, I waited this long to do the things that I love to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm so happy. I'm so happy that, because think about it. I think about it that, if I was to have done these things that I'm doing now a long time ago, I don't think I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do now. No, I don't think so. I would think it would just get, swept under a rug, like, oh, well, did it, done it. All right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that, I'm doing it now. And I'm glad that I'm so happy and overjoyed, that I'm doing it. And I'm surprised. I'm shocked. I was looking on Twitter because I use the platform to upload my episode. I use Buzzsprout. I don't know if you all familiar. There are so many platforms out there that you can use to host your podcast, but I use Buzzsprout, and they had put a tweet, and they were just talking about put an emoji as to how did you feel when you dropped your first episode. And I had put the emoji of the, how you see Home Alone, how little Macaulay Culkin, he has his two hands on his face with his eyes open. He's like, like that. That's the emoji that I put, because that's how I felt. I mean, I was shocked that I even did it. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that shocked me this year, 2020. Right along outside of doing my podcasting, my music, Yes, my music. I dropped some songs, and a video too. Something that I would have never did in a million years. Heck no. Sister was so shy. You know what I'm saying? And, it's past situations that I've been in, that made my self-esteem so low, that I was just like, I don't want to show my body because the sister is curvy. You know what I'm saying? I got thighs for days. You know what I'm saying? They said thick thighs save lives, Well, sister got them. You know what I'm saying? Yes. All natural. No BBL over here.
Pull up my select.
It's all real. All real. And I was always shaped like that all my life. My mother was very hard for her to find clothes for me. Yes, it was. But however, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's me. And, and I'm happy with me, and I wanted to show the world, not just basically show the world, like, hey, look, I'm sexy, I'm curvy, whatever, I wanted to show the world me, because I love me and I have a lot to give. And why not hide how I feel inside? Why not stop my light? You know what I'm saying? Why not dim my light and not let the world be illuminated by it? You know what I'm saying? Because, there are a lot of things that we go through. We are full of surprises. You are full of surprises. You never know what you have in you until you put yourself to that challenge. And that's what I did this year. I put myself finally to a challenge. That I said to myself that, what? Right alongside, with setbacks of, losing a job, being jobless, and the situation that happened in my family. And also, I haven't forgotten to add, I got a divorce. Outside all of those things, I did not let none of it stop me. I did not let none of it hinder my light. I wanted my light to shine through and to just radiate through all of those problems, all of those situations, all those things that I have been through. Because you never know what situation you are going through right now. It may help someone else, guys. It may help someone else. You never know. You never know until you talk to someone else about it. It may uplift someone. It may, help someone out. And that's why I chose, I'm not saying that, oh yeah, you should start a podcast, but I'm just saying that whatever you are going through, don't let it stop you from your dreams, guys. Don't let it stop you. Sure, it might be whatever situation it is. It might be a little setback for you, but just keep it going. Just keep on going. Keep on moving forward. Just keep it rolling, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the best thing that you ever did for yourself, guys. Yes, for yourself in the end. So, I can honestly say that, learning all these technical stuff with podcasting and, how to upload stuff, editing and, hooking up, stuff to my computer, just all that technical stuff. I am grateful. I am so happy that I have learned all of that stuff. And, most of this shit, really all of this shit, I learned on my own. Man, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I taught myself this. And you can do it too. But if you want to ask for help, I did ask for help here and there. Just like I said, I talked to people and, who's doing it. And, some people gave me advice and, but most of the time, I had to figure this shit out myself. So learning this podcasting one-on-one stuff, was really, really, fun. And just like I said, it's not easy. But however, I didn't let it stop me. No matter what it is, I didn't let it stop me. So, I want to get to this last thing, I wanted to say too about 2020. Far as, with this year, I can honestly say, I am very grateful. I'm grateful that my family is safe, that my family is healthy, that we made it through this year. I'm grateful for that. My gratitude is like to the 10th power, man. It's like, it's just everything. I'm so grateful and thankful for this platform, once again, that, that I can express that and tell you all that and give you a little insight of my family and, who my family is and, and so forth. And I really appreciate that. I really am grateful that you all are interested in listening to that. As time goes on and, as time progresses, I look forward to, sharing more news and, positive news and, different stories or whatever about my family, talking about, what we've been through and, and so forth. I really appreciate you all. I'm really thankful for this podcast that you are listening to right now, that we have made it this far throughout the year. Because, some people give up. Some people do give up. And I appreciate it, that I did not give up. And I'm glad that I'm still here going strong. And, giving you all episodes that you all genuinely appreciated. And as I was listening to all of my episodes, I listened to every episode. Every time, I drop it, I always listen to it on whatever platform. And I, the playback of it, just to hear what you guys are hearing, And I can honestly say I can pat myself on the damn back, because I have came a long way. I have with this podcast, as far as talking to you guys and rambling and taking too long to get to the damn point. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't know. I guess that anxiety kicked in. And, just want to give you all the good content. But however, I have came a long way, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud that, I am continuing on growing and giving you all, just like I said, the good content so that you can enjoy, and listen to these episodes whenever, wherever. And I appreciate that. I really do. So, I look forward to more as this year 2021, arrives. I look forward to, giving more. And just like I said, I am going to be, growing and changing and evolving this podcast, because I wanted to gear toward different self-help, different topics that I want to talk about that, that we need to hear about. And because, my channel does not focus on gossip, and also not any hearsay. I don't like to do that. That's something that I don't like to do. And just like I said, there are so many podcasters out here that do focus on it. And if you are interested in that, then, you can go listen to them, and then come back and listen to me if you want to get some, good content, that's talking about your life. You know what I'm saying? And what you should or could do with your life in a positive way. I appreciate you all, by doing that. And, just like I said, 2021 is going to be, a good year for all of us. And I feel as though that if we embrace it, and just ease on into it and flow into it, it could be the best year yet, guys. Yes, it can. And, and I also wanted to add, for those who have lost someone this year, for those who have lost a loved one or a friend or whomever, I hope and pray that, you will receive healing and peace through that. I pray that you will get through it and you will become stronger, throughout this healing process of grief. I wanted to say that to whomever that, lost a loved one this year, 2020, whether it may be due to COVID or whatever natural element or whatever, violence, anything, I pray that, you will get healing and you will get peace in your mind and soul, from that. All right. I just wanted to say that to someone, whoever is listening to that, who have experienced that this year. Yeah. And, 2020, it's almost over, guys. It's time to say our last hurrah and bid farewell to this trying year, guys. It's trying year. And let's move on to 2021, for a new and fresh start, to start all over again, to do something that we always wanted to do but never did. It's time to start it now. 2021, guys. All right now. Yes, my Monday sound off randomness, guys. I just wanted to say that, 2020 is over with. And, I wanted to do this year and rewind and, to talk briefly about my episodes. I wanted to give a shout out to the interviews that I have had on my podcast this year. Yes.
Pull up my select.
Thank you. Yes, I thank you all, for listening to those episodes. Yes, I do. I really, really do. I want to give a shout out to Shakita Broadnax. Yes, her Instagram, Shakita Broadnax. Her Instagram is at Benefit Sessions. Yes, Benefit Sessions on Instagram. And yes, and she is the founder of Silent Seeker Inc. And she is also a motivational speaker in Tennessee. Yes, and she came on my podcast on my Self-Care Wednesdays just to talk a little bit about autism awareness within the Black community. And if you can all listen to this episode number 26, very good information that you can all listen to. It has very good information that, she has shed the light on autism awareness and also within the Black community. So by all means, give it a listen. Episode number 26, guys. Yes, guys. And I also want to give another shout out to when I started these episodes. They were on my Music Fridays. And I wanted to incorporate and have, different indie artists talk about their music if they wanted to showcase, a new album or a new EP that they wanted to drop on my podcast. And I had 2 artists actually that were talking on my podcast. The first artist that I had was Opal Rose. Yes, Opal Rose. Yes, and she dropped her EP on my podcast titled Kiss the Ring. And it's streaming on all of your favorite platforms, your music platforms. You can listen to Kiss the Ring. And I'm telling you that interview was very fun. I really enjoyed that. That was the first time I actually interviewed a music artist on my platform. And I look forward to doing more. I look forward to doing more of these, episodes for you all. And, just like I always say, if you are interested in doing a promo like that, if you wanted to drop your EP and you wanted to use my platform just to get it out there to everyone, then by all means hit a sister up at CreativeLipsPodcast at gmail.com. And last but not least, another music artist is a rapper actually. He is another rapper that's from New York, as well as Opal Rose. And his name is Musically Sincere. Yes, he's a dope artist. I really love his creativity. He's very creative. He's very positive. And he also talked about some personal stuff, too, in regards to what led him to be the rap artist he is today, which is very, very, I really loved his interview. Right outside with all of the other interviews that I did, all of them all wrapped in one were very dope. I love them all. And I really appreciate them choosing my platform to come on here and talk about, the different topics, and, or, also drop, the music that they have out there right now for you all to listen to on all of the platforms, that you like to listen to your music on. So the music artist is Opal Rose, Kiss the Ring, and Musically Sincere. And, check them out. Dope artists out there. And, that's just pretty much it that, I wanted to talk about. But, as I look forward to 2021, I look forward to giving you, once again, more good content and, just being here for you guys until, I can't be here no more, and I really appreciate you all for rocking with me. And I hope you all have a good new year, and it starts off the way that you want to. And even if it doesn't, that you will continue on having, a good year. No matter what you are going through right now, guys. All right, guys. So, I really appreciate you all. I really do. And, I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate you all. We made it. We made it through this year. You know what I'm saying? We're making it through. And it's done. It's finished. So let's begin anew, guys, in 2021. Let's keep on pushing through and doing new things, trying new things, being anew, for good, for a change, something that we need to do for ourselves so that we can be a better version of ourselves. All right, guys. So, if you like my episodes and if you want to hear more content like this, guys, by all means, follow a sister on Instagram at CreativeLipsPodcast, guys. Come on, guys. Follow a sister. And also, if you're interested in, maybe dropping in one of my episodes and you want to talk about whatever topic you want to talk about, by all means, send a sister an email at creativelipspodcast@gmail.com, guys. Yes. And also subscribe to me, because I am also on YouTube, guys. Yes. Trying to branch that out even more, uploading my best episodes on YouTube. Yes. Subscribe at Creative Lips Podcast on YouTube. And also follow me, guys. Come on, follow this wherever you get your favorite platforms. And leave me that 5-star rating, guys. Yes, leave me that 5-star rating, guys. And also leave me a review. And follow me on Twitter, guys. Help my Twitter girl. Because you want to know what, guys? I post stuff there too. All right, guys. Until next time.
But they ain't master the P, they ain't proud about it. I mastered the power, and I'm proud about it. The cypher's getting crowded. Yeah.
Speak better than you know less. Yes, better than you know less. Yes, better than you know less. Yes, speak better than you, speak better than you, speak better than you know less. Yes, better than you know less. Yes, better than you know less. Yes, speak better than you, speak better than you.
Street runner, beat bumper, everything hip hop we cover. Some of these rappers in a deep slumber. KRS-One, he will hover over nearly everyone. You never seen a better one. I'm crazy with the letters, and you dealing with a veteran. I'm fly like a pelican. I reign to American. I'm always.
You are now listening to episode 68 of the Creative Lips Podcast.